leave it to the professionals.
Blessed by Bundy, blah, blah, blah.
Started off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, yo, set it up.
Surfing on the web and I'm shooting at 3. I've been golden when I got my G. I'm an alien boy from a different planet, yeah. So I got my drink, I'm riding in the 1920s Model T Ford. Call her Era Lord. Call me Levi, playing on the keys, boy. And I'm about to put my gloves on. If I said it, then I meant that. Yeah, I like that one, I'm about to get that. Crash that whip for the drumsticks, whiplash. I'm about to get them all. Are you with that? In a white boat, surrounded by blue. I want one, but I got a cop too. I wanna fly high in the sky, arms out wide, trying to soar from a bird's eye view. I'm on fire, Ricky, Bobby, cracking the pavement, Whitney, Bobby. I'm a Saki bomb, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Bruce Wayne been a dog, and I keep it 101, cause I'm feeling kinda spotty. You sipping on some rock, and I'm sipping on octane. The only thing around my neck is the
Started off with a
blockchain.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, yo, set it up.
NFT, Twitter, blockchain. Seeing with the ghosts and we ballin' like the Brown James. Crypto. We can make a trade, get the memo. The views not falling for the FOMO. Listening to Coffee with Captain. You know we worldwide, they loco. I ain't never gonna stop rapping. Orlando, yeah, we working magic. We rocking Ethereum entities. I just went and caught me a half base. Man, I got a shout out
Started
to
off with a
Body.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, yo, set it up.
Freaking the mood to choose one, but they got knowledge to move, son. I'm shocking in shades with my brother in suits, yeah, them blues is coming. Even though it's hard to pick, eeny, mighty, mo, soda on the mix, no biting lips, it's time to go. Index number 1, no thumbs up, you gotta scroll. Looking at the ghost in studio, it's time to go. Had a helmet on by myself until I met a mask that wanted to have a face off. So had to bring my chainsaw, full tank of gas in the ride with my brakes off. I'm A1, but a different kind of steak sauce.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin, where we dive into all things crypto, NFTs, Web3, and cutting-edge technology. Remember, nothing here is financial advice. Early-stage tech can be exceptionally volatile.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain, GM. Thanks so much for joining. I'm Captain Jim, my co-host Steve. Never any financial advice in the show. Crypto is risky, NFTs is risky, meme coins exceptionally risky. Go to zero at a moment's notice. Please never put any money in that you can't afford to lose. And know that Steve and I likely hold tokens we'll talk about from time to time here on the show. We are not financial advisors, certainly not your financial advisors. Just join us for some fun, some information, and some education along the way. If you haven't already done so, drop us a GM in the chat down below. Then head up top, smash that like, repost, and bookmark on today's space. We greatly appreciate it. Warms up the algo, lets everyone know we're here. The best GMers drop them in all the chats over on the YouTube streets, the abstract streets. We are live over on Steve's account, and X video is live as well. Appreciate all of you. GM Steve, how you doing, sir?
GM, I'm doing all right. GM to everybody out there, MeshMesh, Teacher Katie, love seeing you out there. Diablito, Machiavelli, we hit our GMs over here in the YouTube and abstract chat. Machiavelli across multiple platforms, Bordo Zaka, RDL as well. Good seeing you out there. Again, slower spaces lately, so any love on the spaces is very much appreciated. For whatever reason, the algo has not been kind to that. We do have some people, of course, who are over in the over at Token 2049 in Dubai. Seems like a lot of folks have made that trek. Was not a 15-hour flight for me unless there was a clear business reason. Was not going to happen, but GM to those in the chat as well. Clay, 441 Beezie poll last week on Let's Go Clawfee with Captain today. Yes, sir. Bunch you, good seeing you here. We'll some AI stuff to talk about Thursday with my AI woes that I had, plus the strange AI being a bit of a bootlicker, which we'll talk about a little bit. Dort, Micro, Aspiring Nobody, Mel, GM, gonna have you on here hopefully in the next 20 minutes or so, half hour or so. We're gonna do Clawfee with Captain around the 8:30, 8:35 time frame. Joey Vowels, General Wags every single day. Das Scrub, love seeing you out there. Yeah, Cap. I'll tell you what. I'm excited for Clawfee with Captain for sure. I know a lot of people are as well. Those in the chat who may potentially want to get in on Clawfee with Captain, let us know. I try to keep track of who's done it, but I honestly don't have a good running list, so need to do a better job of that to get folks in. But it's certainly possible we'll accidentally double down on that. But I know Mel's going to be in person, and we got some good chat tours as well, so we'll get some good people in to hopefully jump in on this thing. I know we got Ellsworth last week. We had a lot of swaps last week, so people heavily using the swap function, and we'll see what happens there. But Cap, how are you?
Good. I just saw. I missed your. I don't know what's going on with the algo. Like, I just saw your post from 16 hours ago. Is that published, or I literally just saw it? I haven't went into each one.
Oh no. That's just a beginning of writing. So you mean the post about the stuff I'm writing and working on?
Yep.
No, just working on some stuff. Actually,
preview.
Yeah, got some good feedback from Scott yesterday on the actual article, which is always fun because I do this like super deep work where like and Dort asked like what's deep work, thinking it was some new term. It's like, nope, it's just I'm actually researching and going in with like sort of a thesis. And so kind of what I'm working on there is I mentioned this a little bit on the show, but I miss long form writing. I miss more academic, sort of sophisticated writing, which I don't do as much. X doesn't exactly provide for that. So I decided that I was going to, just write about some topics I care about, which are started thinking about why Web3 hasn't been adopted yet. I wrote part 1, which is sort of about the over financialization of everything. Worked on that. Like I said, got some really good feedback from Scott yesterday. He, he's a world-class editor, I would say, in how he looks at things. He's it's just even the things where like he'll use just a slightly different word or slightly different approach to things and completely and better get across the message that you're trying to convey. So worked on that a little bit yesterday. Today, I worked on that a little bit from the feedback perspective yesterday. Second part I was looking at was the infrastructure layer. Probably going to do death of royalties on the third part, although I know they are coming back and solutions are already starting to come into place, and then maybe one like sort of final piece. So probably like a 4-parter, but going to start working on that. Launch the Substack here pretty soon, and yeah, just kind of put stuff on there that I want to talk about. It's just I miss doing that. So love the show and do that, but excited to get a little bit deeper into that world and do a little bit more things, do some more things like that, and kind of work on writing stuff. But yeah, I don't know. The algo has been crazy. It is, I absolutely have to, I have to serve up. I don't get the same thing served up to me anymore. So like, I have to go to my following timeline, but then I basically have to use my list. It's I don't know what they do or how they adjust the algorithm in any sort of funky way, but like, man, I will, like I should see your posts. I like don't see your posts unless I go to your profile, I feel like. And it's like, I interact with all of them. I'm voting to see them on my timeline. And there's a lot of people in general that happens with, and I'm getting served on the For You, forget about it. It's about politics and certain points of view and things like that. On the following, it's like messy. So I've just made a list that I use for a lot of things, but it's not easy, man.
I need to get back to using your list. I keep forgetting about it, and I just go to whatever it defaults to or takes me back to. I am also. You said, speaking of voting, did you see the poll from Becky, or excuse me, from Betty?
Oh yeah, the about dropping on Ape Chain.
Well, she ran 2, right? The first was like, was Ape Chain abstract or base, and out of 2,000 votes. Ape Chain winning with 43% of the vote. And then the most recent one with 17 hours left. I just pinned that up top. Go take a peek. Let me know if those results surprise you.
I voted this morning. I think it was like 70 or something, right? Like 70.
Yeah, the first was which L2, base, abstract, or Ape Chain. And now it's Ape Chain versus Solana. And yeah, Ape Chain is running away with it. Home of NFTs, they say, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how Ape Chain evolves over time, because I know that they're NFTs right now and that gets people going, but how they continue to grow that chain. I'm excited to see, them take a crack at it. Because look, I mean, I know that Ethereum's working on all these upgrades, but we talked about it with Brad yesterday, and he said there's no right answer to this. But my perspective tends to be that I like the original thesis from Vitalik. L2s is how Ethereum scales. I've explained it before. The L2 is like the worker. The L1 is sort of like the boss, and the boss signs off on everything, and the worker does all the work. If the boss did everything, it'd be expensive, slow, and inefficient. That's how it is. I've been thinking in a lot of analogies lately, by the way, and different metaphors. Like I had a one where I was writing about the other side mint, and I explained it like on the other side mint. Imagine like with the gas fees, I was like, how do you explain this just to do business? And I was like, you're paying to kind of use a network. I was like, imagine if you had to pay $6,000 or $4,000 just to use the freeway to get you to your destination. That's sort of like what it was. But no, I think L2s is still how we scale. So I'm curious to see what the different ones. What excites me right now is that I know people are saying daily runners are happening again because the market is going up a little bit, so people are paying more attention to that stuff. That's fine if that's the street you want to play in. Like, I'm not knocking anybody who does that. It's not my game. It's a gambling game. And I'm excited because I feel like we're seeing a lot of L2s that are actually trying to, like, Abstract is making a real attempt at building some games, having a global wallet. 8chain is cooking some things up that I think are going to be pretty exciting, which will hopefully be coming in the near future from some rumblings that I'm hearing, as well as already being the home of NFTs. And you have things like, other, sort of chains that are looking at high TPS, like a Mega ETH or a Somnia. I'm just excited to see like what they build out and what they're going for, because I truly think the opportunity is starting to get there with this infrastructure layer, where it's like you can't have something that takes 12 minutes to confirm a transaction being a regular, like like Bitcoin was never a viable use replace for money, at least not in the terms of how instantly we transact. I think L2s are going to be a viable replacement for a lot of things, or a viable augmentation for a lot of things. And it's been exciting even talking to 8chain and kind of seeing what they're building, Abstract and some other ones. It's just, I don't know. I'm excited for the future to kind of like we're in this like really confusing time where there's all these things happening and we're right in the middle of it. And we're going to see sort of the cream of the crop that sort of rises to the top of dApps and chains. So I don't know. I'm excited about it.
Seems like an exciting time to be here. You saw, I believe you were tuned into Modern Market. You saw Arizona pass the Bitcoin bill?
I did. So Arizona, like leading the charge to stack sats at a state level per Now Media. I saw this. Lawmakers just passed 2 bills to create a Bitcoin reserve, allowing up to 10% public funds to flow into digital assets, which is interesting because they said digital assets in this post. So I'd have to like super clarify what that means. But it says Arizona is leading the charge to stack sats at the state level. Lawmakers just passed 2 bills to create a Bitcoin reserve, allowing up to 10% of public funds to flow into digital assets. The Bitcoin treasury era may start with the states, which interesting. We did think it was going to start with the countries, but
I think states make sense.
Yeah. At a state level. Well, I mean, that's what America's built on, right? States' rights. That's the whole point. The whole point is don't like it move somewhere else.
And I just saw, I don't know if they mentioned this on Modern Market, but I just saw 591 million in new net inflows yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, people are coming, and I think, again,
this is how does this like? My friend group's probably going to start blocking me soon because I don't like. How does this not play out this way at this point? Like, Arizona is not going to be the last state to approve Bitcoin bill. And not only did they approve it, now they may purchase it. It's not a guarantee, but it's up to 10% of their reserves, which is like $30 billion. Forget 10%. If half the states attribute 1%, the FOMO that will create for individuals, other institutions, like, am I too close to this, or is this just not like the most obvious play of all time right now?
Okay, so like this actually comes a little bit close. By the way, again, give us like, retweet, comment on the room, a little bit of a bookmark. We're almost at 100 in the room so far, but yeah, usually we're at 100 by like opening. So the algo is not kind. People are telling
us the algo tells us we need to talk draft for the full 15 minutes to quote open, Steve. Or we could segue, since the draft is over now. We could talk about underdog best ball, which went live yesterday. You could guess how many best ball drafts I got in the first 12 hours. And or we also have oh shit, what else? It slipped my mind. There was something else big in the news that's not Web3 related, but we'll come back to that.
Power outages in Europe, but no,
or is it still out?
I think it's back. We are all the way back. So I put this tweet out. Each generation has one incredible opportunity to create wealth. For my grandparents, it was the silent generation. It was owning property. For my parents, baby boomers, it was the unprecedented boom of the stock market. For my generation, there's a solid chance of Bitcoin. Bookmarked it so that I could check on myself at a future date.
It is like, what else would it be at this point?
So okay, so this brings up.
It seems like it's done. Like that has happened, and it's just a matter of who, how much, and how high it goes. Like, I need someone to pitch me a bear case on Bitcoin at this point. What's the bearish? What is the bearish thesis on Bitcoin from here at this point? And it's not just these nation states, these states, these reserves, these institutions, the ETS. It's not just the big capital coming after this and the price action. It's where the tech is heading, where the industry is heading. And for as big as the crypto industry becomes, Bitcoin's always going to be the OG. It's always going to be the granddaddy. I just don't understand. I'm really struggling, and I go through points of this in my life when things just click for me and others are slower to get some things. Like smartphones was one. People thought I was a Verizon franchisee. At the time, 3% of Verizon users had a smartphone, and I came out and said, hey, everyone's going to have one of these. We're going to 100% smartphone take rate. My franchisees, my peers who've been in the business longer, they thought I was crazy. We set a goal when I first acquired our stores to go to 70% was our take rate. When Verizon was at 3%, my employees, because we acquired stores, some of those people quit. They're like, this guy he's a lunatic. He is in this reality distortion field or something because it's not happening. Well, now that looks like imagine only 7 out of 10 people having a smartphone today. That sounds crazy. But it was so obvious to me that it was happening. People are like, no way I'm ever getting rid of this flip phone. It's too sleek. It's like, it was just, you couldn't convince me otherwise. Kind of the same way now. It's like I have friends who are still like anti-Bitcoin. And it's like, how? Like what have I missed in explaining this so poorly to them that they still just, nah, that's not for me. That's not gonna last. Like it just seems so obvious at this point to me. More so than ever before.
Yeah, I agree in general. I don't understand.
I didn't finish that thought. I just pinned up top Taylor Gehring, one of the founders of ETH. He grabbed a screenshot from MasterCard, ramping up their crypto exposure. Basically, MasterCard unveils end-to-end capabilities to power stablecoin transactions from wallets to checkouts. Latest partnership unlocks consumers can spend stablecoins and merchants can receive them, creating a seamless ecosystem. So, like as that happens, as crypto gets integrated everywhere, whether it's payment rails or the blockchain tech is underwriting, is the rails that people are building on, like, and now states and governments start including Bitcoin in their reserves. Like, I just like, this isn't going backwards at this point. No, like, I just like, barring the lack of a black swan event, what's the bearish thesis on Bitcoin?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we have, BeEpic says the scams with crypto are associated with Bitcoin. I don't know, man. Like they are to a degree. There are to a degree with certain people, but I think the perception in general is
that's an educational issue. Then I think if that's why they're not holding Bitcoin, that's an education. That's on them. That's a user issue. That's not a Bitcoin issue.
I think Bitcoin has this one of those really interesting. It's a really interesting mental case. And I have to think if there are other things in the world that exist like this, where on its face, if you explain to someone who doesn't know what Bitcoin is, like Bitcoin itself is like, if I say those words out loud in a public room with like a group of people to the point of BeEpic, people are almost like, oh, it's a crypto guy, right? Like that happens. So I get it. I would say Bitcoin is one of those things that exists in life where you feel like you don't understand it till you do. And then like somebody explains it to you at a high level about the hard cap, about money, about the store value, and you talk about how people are, excited about the tech and what that, it's like, it's so complex. But I think the thing about it is, I think the point that we've come to is that institutions are in, the governments are in, the rich sort of hedge funds and or I should say rich fund banking companies are in, the brokerages are in. Like, it's a thing where it's like, if the public gets left behind, it feels to your point, like, who knows, like, that people could decide it doesn't have value anymore. I mean, if you want to know what the highest risk of it is right now,
how does that happen? Like, I just don't buy that. I just don't buy that at this point. It's just not. I just can't comprehend that happening. Like, it's too it's just too big at this point. I don't want to say it's too big to fail, but there's just too much serious capital that believes in this thing to say, oh, it's not valuable anymore. I don't. This isn't a meme coin.
But here's the biggest material risk is that if it gets associated too hard with one political side, right now, crypto is very hardcore, the last administration had very anti-crypto stances. People would try to argue with me one way or the other. And it's such a weird world where it's like, depending on the day when I was posting, I was either told that I was a total liberal or a MAGA head, just depending on and I was like, I'm just trying to post the news and an opinion on it. I'm not really politically involved. But the danger is, we heard Tom Emmer last year, consensus. We see, what, Donald Trump has been pushing, and you worry, does it get too associated with one political party? And I don't know, man. I just, that would be the one risk, is that income, the next 4 is that we hit a recession. Here's the risk. We skid into a recession or a bad economic situation because of tariffs and everything else that's going on. Crypto gets lumped into this monetary policy by this administration. In 4 years, they completely vote out everybody who is voted in now, and maybe even 2 years with the House and Senate, and they push those bills all the way back, and they push us back to there. And the United States could sell their bit. They are the largest country holding Bitcoin. They could sell it, right? So I think those are the material risks to send it back. The other material risks are in a recession.
Jesus, Steve's going to make me vote Republican next sec. I'm going to vote for the first time ever. What you're saying is we get two continuous we get some continuity with the administrations. We're locked, but if they may just out of spite, the other party might attempt to undo all this. Is that
so? Not necessarily either. So the other thing you could run into, which is a material risk, is that in down markets, risk assets go down quickly, right? It's growth stocks go down quickly. There's a flight to dividend stocks and bonds and things that are safe.
Well, I agree, but that's across all these financial markets, right? Yes, the macro stuff, if they, I'm not saying it's up only, but relative to other financial instruments, BeEpic says 9% a year is safer. Might be safer, maybe. I guess, but I don't know, man. I just.
Well, this is the risk reward proposition. I mean, that's the thing. It's because
why not both? That's where I think we net out of this. Why not both? I can't foresee a future where almost every financial advisor isn't recommending not all, but a portion of this in their portfolio, because it is they aren't the same thing. And it is a risk profile, but I think it's just going to continue to take bigger and bigger mind share, both from a technology standpoint and from a capital market standpoint, from these major institutions and governments and nation states. That's just how many of these, I don't know, this is going to sound ignorant, but how many of these states or governments, how many of them hold stocks in their reserves? What are most reserves made up? Is it cash and gold today? I really truly don't know.
Well, a couple of things.
For governments, for states and nation states, like is it gold and cash, US dollar, treasury bills? Like what do they currently hold? Like Arizona, 30 billion in their reserves. What is that made of?
Yeah, and that I don't know. I'd have to dig into what their reserves are. I would say probably gold and cash, to your point. Couple comments from the chat though. MeshMesh, there's a bear case for Bitcoin for US and Europe, certainly, but globally Bitcoin is bullish. Just a case of how bullish, especially Asia and Middle East. Rare Ed, Steve has a great point. Just like nuclear energy or reactors are not accepted as a form of renewable energy. Diablito, if someone keeps turning the power off, digital monies ain't gonna work. Like that. Although
that's actually the best argument. That's the best various thesis.
If someone turns the power off, we got a lot bigger problems.
Yeah, wins the chat today. We should give him a Clawfee with Captain just for that, because that's I'm convinced. Now I'm not going to go 100% in Bitcoin just because we could lose power and never come back on. We're all just that is the black swan event.
Yeah, no, it's I'm actually adding Diablito if you want. We'll put you on a Clawfee with Captain and Mel on, so we have a third spot available today. Maybe we get let's get Rare Ed in there, and then MeshMesh we're gonna get you. Or I think I promised MeshMesh this week, so we're gonna go MeshMesh next.
I did have a question, like kind of unrelated, but maybe you can answer. They were talking this gold-backed stable coin on Modern Market, but we're talking like as far as like getting exposure to gold. I wouldn't get you any exposure to gold. I didn't understand that, because it's still just a stable coin. It's just backed by gold. But you put $10,000 into that stable coin, it's going to stay at $10,000, right? Like there's no I don't understand why you would want to do that for exposure to gold.
Yeah, I don't know. MeshMesh got last week. Guess what, MeshMesh? You're going to be our first 2x because you're the most highly commenting, high commenter. We're going to have you do the 2x this morning. I'm just going to stick by it. I should keep a better example of it, and we'll continue to get all of our good friends in each week in Clawfee with Captain. So we're going to double up MeshMesh this week because MeshMesh is a homie. No, I don't know. I mean, like obviously it's funny, like the power turns off. Like, yeah, it's funny. Rare Ed's exactly right. Nothing works. If the power turns off, we're all in trouble because we're all completely dependent on our devices and everything around it. And we'd have to have survivor skills real quick. So I don't know. Like there are people who plan for that stuff with the doomsday stuff. I don't, I just figure I'll go down with the ship or find someone.
You watch Last of Us?
No. Did not. No spoilers. But yeah, like I think
it's pretty. It's yeah, I won't go there. It's a cool open topic, but if you're not watching it, we won't bore everyone. But it's like 3 episodes into season 2, and it's good. I think if you enjoyed like Walking Dead at all, this is good. It's I think a better type of like that kind of genre.
I didn't watch Walking Dead, so do not know. But no, I guess like I guess to me it's like it feels good, but it's like, the risk is governmental risk, regulatory risk coming back into play. In recessions, obviously, you talk about like what happens when risk assets go down. Is that just a buying opportunity or does it stay down? Everybody says, remember Bitcoin. It's just those are the material risks that you run into with this stuff where you could potentially see, a backtrack of this particular asset. But yeah, no, it feels like it has. This is kind of like, what do you think? Here are the couple things on it because there's so much to hit on. This is like, you have to think like, because I was saying it's like, is this the generational wealth opportunity for our generation? And Whale responded and said,
I don't know if it still is, but it was for sure.
Whale said was. Why not is? Like, it's weird because the stock market returns, 7 to 10% a year, meaning that it doubles every 10 years or so, right? Like, meaning if you put like on average, like if it continues trends, obviously past performance doesn't mean future performance. If you put $100 in the stock market and don't touch it, in 10 years, it's $200. Obviously that compounds if you put money in DCA. What do you think Bitcoin is in 10 years? Give me a guess. Like, just throw a guess out.
7 figures.
Okay. So your point of view, if your point is that Bitcoin is going to 10x, double.
But that's like in 10 years. And that's not generational wealth. That's just a good investment.
But when you DCA, it is. Like, that's the point. Like if you're DCAing into something that's 10xing, like that is the wealth creation opportunity. Because, let's say you put $100.
It is wealth creation. I don't think it's generational wealth. And maybe it's just our definition of generational wealth.
I guess my point is like, if something doubles every 10 years, like, or every 10 years, you realize how long it takes if you're using the traditional stock market at that point to get to that 10x versus like if you DCA into something that you think is going to 10x in the next 10 years, like that's a pretty massive run, right? And so like I guess my point is like, is it like if you're and maybe not, and maybe it's just crypto in general, like I don't know, but like I guess I think it's a maybe, again, it depends how you define generational wealth, but I think like as far as at least I'm not saying that. Look,
I mean, but to use your example of 10x in 10 years, like the S&P does that every 7 years. That's what I'm saying. Like it's a good investment. I just don't. It's good. I just think like the generational wealth would have been buying Bitcoin, in 2013. That's generational wealth. To 10x from here in 10 years, yeah, that's awesome. But it's like I think that's where it's matured to now. Is Bitcoin is an alternative to the S&P 500, and I think that's how I'm viewing it. Is it's a bucket for me. I think it's ascended into the bucket of the S&P. It's ascended into the bucket of my expectation of my Bitcoin DCA is very similar to my 401k.
Yeah,
I want them both to 10x in 10 years.
I was just gonna say I don't think your math is right. The S&P, based on its returns, would double about every 25 to 30 years. Or I mean 10x every 25 to 30 years. Not every 10 years. So if it's 10% annually, it would on average take like 25 to 30 years to 10x. So like a 10x in 10 years is significantly outperforming there. Is the number you're looking
at. Okay. So
the point is that, and that's kind of my point, is that if your point is on a 10x, if you're dollar cost averaging, I'm gonna give. Here's the deal. I will let you chat for a minute while we continue to get ready for Clawfee with Captain. Or I'll go to Joey. Actually, I'm going to put in a scenario that I'm going to create to explain the difference between how significant a 10x in 10 years versus a 10x in 35 years is, or 30 years is. But I'll go to Joey first while I create the scenario. Joey, go ahead and get in here, GM.
Yeah, so I agree with Cap.
24 years. You're right. I was thinking double. So S&P doubles in 10 years would take 24 years to 10x based on historical returns. Go ahead, Joey. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. 10x isn't generational wealth unless you're investing like, I guess.
Are you guys thinking about it as like you just put like $7 into this thing and leave it? Because like the dollar cost. Okay, never mind. I'll do the scenario. I'm not going to get into it. Go ahead, Joey. Sorry. Go ahead, Joey.
Well, yeah. I mean, to me, 10. I agree with Cap, and probably that Bitcoin could see 7 figures in 10 years. But like that's not generational wealth, right? Like generational wealth is like enough money. Like when you talk about generational wealth, that's enough money that your kids and your grandkids can live off of. That's probably 200.
You guys are thinking generational. Let me reframe my point, and then I want Joey to.
I think we're just hung up on our definition of generational.
Yeah, wealth. I'm not saying. I was saying the generational wealth creating opportunity, right? Is what I'm saying. Is like you weren't going to give money to your grandkids going to the S&P 500 as a boomer or buying property, but just to give an example, and then I'll get off it. So after 10 years, if you put $1,200 into the S&P 500. So $100 a month. Let's just make it very simple. You're putting $100 a month into the S&P 500 for the next 10 years. So you're putting $100 into Bitcoin with your 10x scenario, Cap. One of them will net you out $20,000. The S&P 500, $100 a month for the next 10 years, $20,000. Not too shabby. Bitcoin, on the other hand, in the same scenario, would give you $120,000. Now, again, that's not generational pay for your kids' wealth, but that is just simply $100 a month into Bitcoin, assuming it's going to 10x. Now, of course, you're considering putting more than that, but you would say, now, let's up that, I'm going to up that number to say, let's call it, $20,000 a year. Like someone's putting, put that money, $20,000 a year, like you're doing in a 401k. Suddenly you can do the math on that and it gets significant. You start to see the significant number. So again, if you put $20,000 a year in this same scenario into Bitcoin versus the S&P 500. So again, this is why I want to explain this difference here. If you say 10x is, and you're talking about the S&P 500, $20,000 a year into the S&P 500, like a 401k, that's $318,000. Not too shabby for 10 years. $20,000 a year into Bitcoin, that is $200 or $2 million. So you can see where like the 10x number, again, $20,000 a year to Bitcoin, if you think 10x, $2 million is not too shabby and not a bad place to be. So that, I guess what I'm saying is that if you're telling me the returns on Bitcoin, if you're putting the same money out into a max 401k, is $1.6 million greater than that of the S&P 500. That is what I'm saying when I say the generational wealth opportunity that exists for a group, assuming that your scenario is correct. I'll let Joey continue, but do you see what I'm saying about the difference? I'm not saying it's going to set you up generationally to there. I'm saying of a generation, there is one wealth opportunity. Property for the boomers, or silent generation, S&P 500 for the boomers. Is this the opportunity where it's like you just passively shuck your money away and you end up with a couple $1 million in, a couple of years? Joey, go ahead and continue.
Yeah, I think the way to phrase it is this is our generation's opportunity to create wealth. Because when you say generational wealth,
generational opportunity, by the very literal definition of it, you are in a generation, there is a wealth creating opportunity, generational opportunity. I get where the hang up is because we say gen wealth.
We're good. Yeah, let's just move on because I think it was semantics. We agree from just now that we've defined our take on generational.
Yeah. No, and then I'm also with Cap here where like it's really difficult for me to envision a scenario 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, with where we're moving in the world when it comes to, AI, computers, whatever you want to call it, where Bitcoin doesn't continue to grow. Like what are we thinking that like you mentioned Last of Us? Are we thinking that all of a sudden there's going to be a world extinction event where we go back, to caveman age and we're trading rocks for woolly mammoth meat? Like, I mean, listen, could it happen? There's been like, a crazy amount of extinction events in our world, right? Like, could it happen? Sure. Is it a reality that's going to happen? Probably not. So I don't see a scenario where Bitcoin all of a sudden becomes invaluable. And then the other thing I was going to say is there's like the opportunities that we have today, not just from Bitcoin. There's like, you hear all the time of people that literally took a month to learn AI, right? There's so many ways nowadays to reinvent yourself and create opportunities. Yes. And if you don't have the money to invest, find another way. There's so many opportunities popping up today that didn't exist before, where before it was like you had to go into the labor force, right? Like you had to start in a blue collar job and work your way up, or you had to become a doctor, right? Like there's so many creative ways for you today to create wealth for yourself outside of the traditional, that we're used to. So if it's not investing, start teaching yourself a new skill like AI. I mean, I can't even tell you, I've been looking for a job for 16 months. I can't even tell you how many developer jobs I see on job boards all over LinkedIn, Web3 careers, like every single job board, Solana Foundation, developer. Put yourself through a developer bootcamp. There's jobs everywhere. So there's so much opportunity in this space outside of just DCAing into Bitcoin or Solana or ETH. It's incredible right now.
I agree. I think that's the one thing is like, again, like, I don't know. Look, we're always trying to like figure out how we're going to squirrel a career together here and kind of duct tape everything together with everything Cap and I work on. But like, part of my whole thing was I didn't just like, I remember having a conversation with somebody who was in the Bored Ape Yacht Club with me. We started around the same time. We're friends, whatever. And I saw him at the Ape Fest in New York, maybe or shortly after that. And we were having a conversation and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, I'm working on a book. I'm working with Starbucks. I'm trying to," and he's like, whoa. I'm just going to parties and like selling my airdrops. And like, he like kind of like had this moment of reckoning where he was like, "Oh, well," and I'm like, "Well, I don't know if the music stops at some point. I want to have actual stuff behind it." So yeah, developer is a good one. If you know how to develop, I do not. I don't have a code bone in my body, but if you want to go be a developer, that is a fruitful career for sure, especially in today's day and age. There's quite a few things there. But that said, let's do this. We're gonna do Clawfee with Captain, because very special guest for Clawfee with Captain today. We got the first everyday GMer coming in a second here. So we'll get Clawfee with Captain going, and we're gonna bring on Mel.
Coffee with Captain. Give that claw a spin. Raw to grills from Beezie. Prizes within. Mystery and magic. Where to begin? Coffee with Captain. It's your time to win.
Mel, GM, how's it going? Oh no audio. You're on mute, but it's on the mute. It's not the audio.
Hey, can you hear me now?
There we go. We got it.
We
I know
get it.
there's some audio nerves coming in because we look, it's hard setting things up, getting everything going. So appreciate you joining us this morning. Obviously appreciate you every day. A friend, a listener, an early jammer, a hockey mom. How are you doing? And give a little bit of your personal background on everything, because it's I think people see you in the GMs.
Yeah, hey, I'm doing good right now. I'm hiding in the kids' playroom. They're downstairs, and everything's good. Lacrosse has started. Seasons are wild. I'm always so busy, so I'm not really around Web3 as much as I used to be anymore with the kids. But yeah, I got into this space under VFriends and Gary V. I just signed up for his text thread, and he was like, "Hey, we're selling these NFTs." I'm like, "Hey, babe, let's go buy and some of these NFTs," and we went and bought 3 of them. And then that's how I got introduced to Web3, and then I've just been hanging out since.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I know the kids are obviously keeping you busy. Is your husband like a large man or something? Because like I think about the kids playing hockey and lacrosse, and I'm like, these are contact sports. My parents bubble wrapped me and wouldn't even let me play hockey, even though I asked. Then they let my brother play hockey. Still salty. But like, do you are your kids just like giant humans?
No, he's not at all. But my boy is a brute, so I don't know where it comes from. But he's so much fun to watch. Having a kid that's an elite athlete is not for the faint. It's really hard in the contact sports. He's already had some head injuries, and he's only 10, so it's a lot. But it's fun. It's fun. We'll see where it goes.
No, I feel that. It's weird. My kids are not into sports the way I was, so it's I enjoy watching my son play travel soccer. Got a good team, but it is I imagine it's pretty tough, but also rewarding to see. But those contact sports, it's gotta let them do what they love, though. That's what's amazing, though. It's pretty cool.
Over here. Yeah, yep, it is. It's rough to watch, especially when they go down and they don't get right back up. It makes you nervous, especially when they're on the ice. You can't even get to them, like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, no, I feel that. I've seen kids go down in even soccer, and it's definitely it's a tough scenario when they don't stand back up, and you're like, oh, it's just an ankle injury versus like a head injury. So I can only imagine. But
right? Okay.
Oh, a little shy. But that said, like, look, we're gonna do this. I'm gonna let MeshMesh draw a second time because I said it out loud. We're gonna go Mel, Diablito, and MeshMesh drawing. Oh, hey there. And so I feel the good luck today. I think Mel's gonna get a really good pull.
Show 88. It's good. It's certainly our luckiest show yet.
Yeah, let's see.
So we're going to get this thing going. We're going to do a poll. For people who don't know, if you're not familiar with the Beezie Claw, we've done it a few times now. Fun sponsor of the show called Clawfee with Captain. They're sponsoring Claw Pull. So what do you do? Although I think, oh, there we go. Got my claw pulling up right now. So what you do is you pull from the claw. You have about a 71% chance of getting a base, which means you're going to get an item that is sort of even money or less. You have a 29% chance, so about a 1 in 3 shot of getting above plus EV, meaning it is worth more than what you pulled on there. 23% chance of 30 to 60, 4% chance, 4 to 5% chance an uncommon, rare 1.23, and a little bit less than 1% chance you might get a $200 plus item. Clay, who we got set up here last week, did that. You can see different types of items. Travis Scott shoes. You got some cards. These booster boxes, which I have redeemed and ripped with my kids before. Again, more shoes and some different card options when you look at some of the top items that you might be able to pull. So some cool items to have in your vault if you're looking for them. So we're going to get this thing started right now. We're going to start with Mel's pull, and then we will go to Diablito and MeshMesh after that, at which point she will have the opportunity to swap, which we will cover when that time arises. But you know what we're going to do is we're just going to pull you like a $200 item, and we're going to call it a day right now. Ready to go?
Let's do that.
All right, let's go. Cap, I don't know if you want to hit us with some background music as we pump it up, but we'll activate the claw. We'll get the pull. I'm feeling it. This is the week that we are going to get a big pull from Clawfee with Captain. I feel it. I'm feeling a big pull. I'm feeling a big pull for Mel. Long time. First ever every single day.
Good luck. Good luck.
Let's see.
All right, $18. Not great, not too shabby. It is an $18 2023 Crown Zenith Radiant Charizard. Gotta love a good Charizard. Flip it over to the back. It's going to tell you all the information. PSA 9 from 2023. Mel, do you want to keep the Charizard card, or do you want to swap it for the $18?
We'll keep it.
You're going to keep it. All right.
Yeah.
Love that. So Mel is going to keep the card. But again, for most people, you have 15 minutes to keep or swap. It is an $18 card. So they take a small platform fee. You swap it out. They put it then eventually back in the claw. It doesn't go directly back in. But the idea is that you're able to get a really cool card. So Mel's going to get me her. She's going to DM me her Beezie address that she set up. If she has it, we'll send you that ref link to get it started setting up. And we'll get you all done and get you a Charizard card. But stick around for a minute. We'll see the next polls and see if anybody else gets one.
While you're going through this, Steve, anyone that doesn't have their Beezie account set up yet, I'm going to drop our ref link up top. That'll be pinned up there. And even if you're not drawing today, we'd love for you to go get your Beezie account set up and be ready for future Clawfee with Captains.
The second one's going to be for Diablito. So Diablito in the chat got jokes, got comments. We're going to see how Diablito does here. So Diablito, maybe you will get the big pull, hopefully live here on Clawfee with Captain. We'll see how that goes. $11, Diablito. Again, man, we have not ran pure on the claw on the show. So Diablito gonna give the 15-second delay. As Mel noticed, there's about a 15-second delay on the space from the live show. So Diablito, let us know if you want to keep or swap, depending on how you're feeling. We will be happy to swap it for you. But the 15-second delay is crazy. Even our the end of our show, Diablito is done. Wants to swap it out. Diablito, I will get your. I will send you that $10 in fees. $10 to $11 right there when you do it. So that is the swap functionality. Instant liquidity. Somebody pulled a Rolex and swapped for $6,900 to get it back in the machine, which was crazy fun. So that is swap back out. So Diablito, DM me, and I will send you a $11 to be spent on Beezie or however you want. It is a free market. MeshMesh, you're going to be our first 2x puller because MeshMesh shows up every day. We appreciate MeshMesh. We're going to get MeshMesh a big pull today. Got to sign my TX in the MetaMask. This is going to be the one. Come on. Let's get something big here for those Clawfee with Captain listeners. Guegu saying the Clawfee with Captain must be decaf. Not on this pull. This is going to be $100+ pull. I'm feeling it. All right, $36. All right.
Not bad.
There you go. So we got a Black Star promo Karen. I didn't know a Karen. It is a Karen. Basically, she calls the police on your barbecue. $7 PSA 7 for 2017. So MeshMesh, let us know if you want us to send you this card, or BeEpic telling you Black Star promos are desirable. Again, $36 swap option, which is probably like a $40-$45 card. If you want us to, BeEpic is recommending you keep it, MeshMesh. So you tell us, we'll give it about a 15-second delay. Do you want us to keep it? Do you want us to swap it? Gotta love I
feel like a PSA 7 that's, the swap offer $36. That must be a pretty, kind of an elite card, no? Like a PSA 10 would go for 3 figures, I'm guessing.
MeshMesh is going to keep it. We love to see it. So we have 2 keepers this morning.
You're right, Cap.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Cap, Joey Valls confirms you're correct.
Yeah, if it's a PSA 10, it's probably a 3-figure. And I'm in the giving mood today, Steve. So let's give somebody else a claw pull on me.
Let's do this. I want to give Mel another run at this because she is live on the stream. So
Okay,
Joey Valls is sponsoring another one.
We're going to do another one?
You're going to do one more.
Let's go.
This is going to be the big one. This is the Joey Valls sponsored.
This is going to be it then.
This is the big winner.
Yeah.
I feel good about this one. We're going to do a second one because if nothing else, Mel's going to either get a swap or be able to have 2 cars right there off the rip on the Beezie account, which again, we'll DM you that.
Yeah, so if I swap this, what's it do?
It's cash.
Oh, okay.
However you want to use it. Yeah.
Let's see here.
$90. There you go. Woo! So here you have a Dunk Low retro black and white Panda. Now, important note here that Cap didn't go in. Size is 9.5, so those would fit me just fine. Probably a little big for you. Not sure what size the rest of your household wears, but you could just swap it right now and just have $90 in your pocket.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and do the swap and take that $90.
$84.60 after the platform fee.
Let's go.
There's a little bit of swap there. So, yeah.
Thank you, Joey. Thanks, Steve and Cap.
Joey Vowels with the sponsorship to get us a nice pull on some shoes. I will get your address, send you that $84, and we will get it your way. So you got $84 and a Charizard card leaving today. Pretty successful iteration of Clawfee with Captain now.
Yeah, I'd say that's awesome. Thank you so much for the opportunity, you guys.
Thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for all your support. Truly, really appreciate you. I mean, it means the world to us. I know we acknowledge your GMs in the chat, but it truly does. Like, you're one of our #1 fans, and it means the world to Steve and I. So greatly appreciate
I've got some competitors now too. We've got more stepping up, so it's fun.
Seriously, it's one of my favorite things. Is like a day you're late, and it's like Big Bear or someone else comes in. It's like, where's Mel? It's like it like warms my heart, like in a weird cheesy way. It's like our listeners who probably never met each other are looking out for each other and like genuinely concerned if you're not there at 8:01 a.m. every morning. So. Greatly appreciate you. Congrats. And thanks, Joey. Joey, this must be the alpha. Joey's going to have to give away a claw pull every Clawfee with Captain now, Steve. That's our magic.
It's Joey's luck. Well, thank you so much, guys, for having me on. I'm going to get off the camera now.
Right on.
Bye.
Awesome. Good stuff. That was awesome. So, yeah, Cap. We got our first big pull.
Hey. I'm not done yet. Let's pick another person. Let's do the tag machine.
Okay. All right. Let me get Beezie going back up again, and I will boot it. Let's do this. BeEpic. Or no, Rare Ed. We're gonna do Rare Ed this morning. Actually, screw it. I said BeEpic first. I should do BeEpic. Rare Ed. We're gonna get you multiple times. Okay. So don't
Rare Ed on next Tuesday on video if he wants.
So Mel is the Charizard card. Just making sure.
I feel like, have we done this for Dort yet? He's super active all the time.
We have, but we could do this. All right, we're gonna do the tag machine. Let's do let's do this. Joey Valls, you can pick between BeEpic and Dort, and whichever one you don't pick, we will make sure we get next week and many times, along with Rare Ed, Pinstripe Gator, all our good fans. We did get Dort in the first one, but if you would like, you tell us who we're gonna go with. So you're gonna be the guy who picks. Do you want us to do BeEpic or Dort?
All right, we'll do. As long as we do Dort next week, we can do BeEpic this week because Dort deserves another one because of how active he is every time we do Clawfee with Captain.
Awesome. All right, so BeEpic.
Yeah.
We'll do BeEpic this week. Next week, we're definitely doing Rare Ed and Dort. We'll get someone else going. We'll even see. Maybe we can even see if we can get Dort to sneak on screen from his IRL big boy job. We'll see, but possibly. But yeah, we're going to do right now. This poll is for BeEpic, sponsored by Mr. Joey Valls, doing one more. We're wrapping up, and Joey's like, but wait, there's more. All right, here we go. Tag machine. Once again, similar scenario to previous ones. You're going to go and swap it, tag a different grading, similar to PSA, but doing their own thing. They do a really cool AI grading style. So you're going to be able to see what you can get from the tag machine. A lot of good options here. We see some good polls from your share in the timeline. So here we go, BeEpic. Oh, $50 almost, BeEpic. Now, BeEpic, Here's your question. You have a Japanese Raging Surf Rika. Not super familiar, but a PSA 10 from 2023. Big pull. Joey Vowles is the alpha.
Card number 88 on show 888.
Tag 10.
Tag 10.
You said,
Tag
PSA,
10.
you said PSA 10 again. Tag 10.
Grade 10. Tag 10. Gotta get it. You tell us, BeEpic, you want to keep this one. It is a tag 10. Joey Vowles is the alpha. He's putting up numbers. BeEpic's thinking about it. We're going to give him time. Because here's the beautiful part about the swap that Beezie does. You have 15 minutes to figure out if you're going to swap or not. We do it a little bit quicker on this show. It is number 88 on show 888 for Penguins. That's the right call. BeEpic's going to keep it. BeEpic, DM me that address if you haven't, and we will get you all set up on Beezie and get you that card. Huge pulls this morning.
Big pulls.
Mel's getting some cash in the card. Yeah. Good morning. Good morning. BeEpic with an epic win. Yeah. Universe aligning. When you said 88 on show 88.
That's Joe gave us today's proof of simulation. We pulled tag card 88 on show 888. It's proof of simulation today.
And BeEpic being in the Penguin community for 8888. You know what I mean? They have the same number. So it's really interesting to see that on this show. Couldn't ask for a better one. So BeEpic, we will get you that card. DM me on X and we'll get everything set up. Make sure you have your Beezie account. If you haven't, we'll get you set up with that ref link. But we're going to get, so Cap, to-dos following the show, get Mel the ref link, make sure she's set up. BeEpic, we'll make sure we get set up and send that through, and Diablito as well. So appreciate everyone else, and MeshMesh getting that Karen card as well. So really good morning on Clawfee with Captain. We actually had some really, we had I think we're turning around. I think we're in for a hot streak now coming up on Clawfee with Captain.
Right. Shout out to Beezie for sponsoring. Greatly appreciated. That ref link is once again pinned up top. If you've not yet set up a Beezie account, that does us a solid. It's another way to tip us. If you've not sent us a Pingu tip yet today or received some Pingu, head up top, create that account, and that is also does us a great solid. So if you're not over there yet, go get your account set up using that ref link. We would greatly appreciate it. Let's show Beezie and Joey and team some love.
Yeah, that was Clawfee with Captain, brought to you by Beezie, the best marketplace for resellers, from Pokemon and One Piece to sneakers, video games, comics, and more. All your collectibles are securely stored in a Brinks vault and can be redeemed at any time. And I have redeemed them, and I do have some stored, so I can attest to the process. Plus, it's the only place you'll find the Claw. They got a whole point system going on. They got claws going on. They have great product. So I don't know. I love myself some Beezie. I have a not inexpensive Beezie vault going because I don't have to, the beautiful part about the technology is it sits in the vault of Brinks. I don't have to worry about storing it at my house or anything happening to it. So love it. What a day. What a day, Cap. Good coffee with Captain. Joey, go ahead and get in here.
Yeah, real quick. So we announced this a couple weeks ago as like a beta test, whatever, rip and ship, which is where you can actually go onto our website and purchase sealed product, or you could win sealed product in the claw machine, and then you can choose to just hold it, or you can have it ripped live on stream. And last week was crazy. I think we had like 108. I have to look at the number, but I think it was 180 packs redeemed that Dash had to rip on stream for people, chasing raw cards. So it's been it's been like just incredibly successful. It's super popular. If you love the thrill of the chase, like I said, you can go buy sealed product right on the marketplace, or you can play the claw and pull a sealed product, and then Dash will rip it on stream. It's been so much fun. So if that's what you're into, check that out. And the last day, this is our week 3 of our XP quests. We're giving 3 winners this week. There's a $500 card, I think a $300 card, and like a $200 card, roughly, for the top 3. So basically, every time you play the claw, you get XP, and XP then converts to like tickets. And then if we pull your ticket, you win. There's also, we're giving away flow to the top 3, like pure flow tokens. So it's basically like cash, right? To the top 3. And then we're also giving away keys and boxes, which if you're not familiar with flow, keys and boxes, you get a key to open a box to reveal points, which then you can go use in flow's marketplace for all kinds of stuff. So all kinds of really fun stuff going on right now. And our team is in Dubai right now. And we're hosting a huge party on Friday night.
It's awesome. Joey did not make it out to Dubai, but is holding down the fort, which we appreciate, and hanging with us. So appreciate you, sir. And yeah, I mean, good rendition of Clawfee with Captain. Good rendition of Clawfee with Captain for sure. Glad Mel was able to join us as well. Always good to see her. And you know, like finding some of our like loyals, A1 day ones who are getting some. Like, this is what we want to do, and this is what we're continuing to do, where, and Cap and I mentioned, we're pretty close to signing another deal, which will hopefully give away stuff to our audience on a daily basis. So just showing up and listening, let your friends know, opportunity to win and earn, and there's going to be even more opportunities coming up, hopefully here pretty soon. So we are not above bribing our audience, but in all seriousness, we very much appreciate it. But good stuff, Cap.
Good day. Good day on Clawfee with Captain. Appreciate everyone tuning in, and shout out to our participants, our contestants. What do we call them?
Participants, probably. Although I kind of like contestants a little bit. That's actually kind of fun. Let's cut music and we'll continue to keep going.
I got me to a trance. I forgot it was even playing.
Just keeps going. By the way, in the meantime, I have done so many things. And like, again, I don't want to belabor the point or beat a dead horse here. And we'll move on to like the next topic. But like, you know, and I know we got confused over like the way the colloquialisms are used in Web 2 versus Web 3. But, you know, again, I've had it run several things. And again, assuming you're, you know, Bitcoin is going to, even if Bitcoin's going to 5x in the next 10 years, if you put $200,000 in Bitcoin today and $200,000 in the S&P 500 today, you're making about $500,000 more on Bitcoin. So again, to me, it's like, what is that opportunity that we have that maybe other people don't, and being here matters? And I can say personally, I DCA like $50 a month into Bitcoin, which sounds so small, but if I do that for 10 years and that turns into $2 million, I'm going to be pretty happy.
So yes, and to rephrase to where we all agree on, I think the generational opportunity, as described, as you're describing, it's like that's this generation's opportunity that probably is not going to exist for our children. Like 20 years from now, there's going to have to be something else that they're going to be DCAing into. It's probably not going to, like, you know, it hopefully it holds its value at that point and continues to appreciate, but it's at some point likely plateaus, right? Or maybe not. Maybe it just keeps going in. But I think that this is probably, like, to your point, like, you know, stocks were for our parents, and like, this could be our generation's opportunity that won't exist to the same degree in 20 years from now.
MeshMesh said ETH ? No, you know, Diablito, I don't have children. I don't need generational wealth. But no, I think that's it, is like, will it like, that's going to be actually, you just put a whole other fascinating thing that'll be fun to watch unfold. Does Bitcoin plateau off like digital gold and hit a point where, like, yeah, it can go up and go down, but it kind of like finds like some normalcy? Or does it go up 7 to 10% a year? Now, I don't know if you saw that from stats. I'm probably not going to be able to find it because X search stinks, but stats have put out some number on how gold has actually outperformed the S&P 500 over the past 10 years, which not just because of research.
Yes, it has, but how much of that is like in the last year? Like,
no, not at all. It was actually like 10 years ago, or maybe it was like since 2000 or last 20 years. But I'll have to find, I'll see if I can find an answer to that, but I'll hand it to you while I see if I can find the answer to that one real quick.
Well, I thought so much of the, I mean, it's up 40% or 37% in the last year. That's like raw dollars. That's it's over $1,000 increase just in the last year. That's pretty wild.
So it wasn't in the last year, and this is where I'm trying to find the clear answer to it, because like when we talk about Bitcoin versus gold or whatever, I'll just see if I can find it. See if I can find Punk 9059.
Yeah, good point from Bob over in the YouTube chat. Says it did outperform the S&P, especially if you take into account the M2 money supply.
Yeah, it is. So in the past 10 years, gold has gold has returned less. So it's the 20-year performance he was looking at. And it's not recent. It actually happened in the early 2000s when they came up. So the 20-year performance, gold has gone up approximately 493%. The S&P 500 has gone up 402%. So I haven't found his stat, but I did get the data on it. So, in 20 years, gold has outperformed. And a lot of that outperformance came early on, not recently, which surprised me. And so I was kind of surprised to see that. So, again, if Bitcoin even has the same fate as gold in the next 20 years, it's at least an outperformance. But if it's a significant outperformance, I just think that there's so much opportunity there. And that's why I think I know it's like sort of that corny old adage, like slow and steady wins the race. But like, to me, like, that's kind of how I am. Like, when I look at like my 401k from when I was working in corporate, it's like, it's amazing how much that thing compounds. When you look at like Bitcoin, it's like, if you're behind, it's like sort of the idea, like the best day to plant a tree was yesterday. The second best day is today, right? It's like, the best time to start investing in Bitcoin was 10 years ago. The second best time is today, right? It's just, there always is a good time, at least for me personally, to continue to DCA into those. I will say, let me get your take on this, then we should go to the Pudgy sale, because there is some stuff. There's some blast conversation potentially around Thruster, maybe Zed Champions. We have a less facing Penguin for 200 ETH. So we can get into a lot of stuff. So how important do you think it is for diversifying in crypto versus just saying go Bitcoin? And by that, I mean, is it just like stocks? Why are you trying to pick winners? Like, so I think of things like my portfolio, which includes, it's shrunk over the years. It's basically Solana, ETH, Avalanche, Chainlink, Bitcoin, and there's some other stuff here and there, but those are like the main larger quote unquote positions for like what I have. Not like large by normal standards, but big for me. Am I just silly not just saying I should push this all into Bitcoin?
I mean, it depends on. I don't think so. I think it's like you don't have all of your. I don't think you have all of your traditional equities in like a single stock. It's probably more mutual funds or 401ks, and I would have it heavily weighted Bitcoin. But I think I still, even though my long-term conviction in Bitcoin, it trumps all other crypto in terms of value accrual standpoint. But I still think some of those others that you just mentioned, like, that presents an opportunity to stack more Bitcoin by having some greater short-term realized gains. I think that's kind of where I'm at, is if everyone's different, right? If your net worth is north of $10 million, you probably are okay sitting with the majority of your holdings in something that you're not chasing 100x in the short term, right? Like, I have, like, just personally, I have my, I look at my Bitcoin bucket like my 401k bucket, and then my all other crypto, kind of like, not that I necessarily trade stocks, but it's just I will, like, my asymmetrical bucket, that's what I move around, right? Like, I don't touch my long-term buckets, but my asymmetrical bucket, sometimes, it's in NFTs, other times, like, it's in traditional stocks. And I that's where I will move and attempt to trade, as opposed to just time in the market.
Yeah, I think like I've been trying to like have a policy, which I did this recently with we're very lucky that we have some people who have provided things like Pengu tips for us and things, and I recently converted some of those. Like, it wasn't a ton, but it ended up being like north of couple $100, and I was like, oh, that's nice over time. Like, that's been a good little gainer. Converted that straight into USDC and put it into Bitcoin recently. Just things like that. Or it's like, if we sign a deal like with a sponsor, I'm trying to say like, okay, put like 5% of this into Bitcoin. Like, I'm trying to make those little moves that ultimately help drive my my Bitcoin allocation and numbers forward, because like those are like the things that I'm like realizing, like, I'm still playing catch up with Bitcoin. And I am, compared to where I could have been. And I just think, man, like, I just think about when it was $16,000 Bitcoin. And I know everyone was like, bottomed out, and obviously you had to have the stones to go push at that point. But there comes a point when you're like, at what point is this the move? Someone else said like ordinals, which I do like ordinals in general, but like ordinals are moving with the market on a downward basis, right? Like ordinals, like basically are seeing Bitcoin go up, and today Taproot Wizard's down 3%, Bitcoin Puppets down 7%, Ordinal Maxi Biz down 2%, Quantum Cat's down 2.5%, Runestone's down 3.5%. I think there's a world where ordinals have their day, but I don't know. Like using ordinals as a lever bet on Bitcoin feels a lot like that having a lever bet on ETH with NFTs, which worked out a little bit at times, but other times it didn't. Do you think, for example, Taproot Wizards are ever going to be above mint, right? Like some people say yes and other people say no. But if Bitcoin keeps going up, will Taproot Wizards continue to peg down to right around that mint price? Because they were pretty perfectly priced. Like right now, a Taproot Wizard is about $14,000-$15,000. The mint price was $17,000. Do you think they ever go above 0.2 Bitcoin? Do you think they ever go above that 17,000? Like, and I know ever is like a big statement, but kind of, do you see what I'm saying? Like, I kind of start wondering those questions about like, I don't know, like are ordinals a levered bet on Bitcoin, or is it just, are they going to go down every time Bitcoin goes up?
They might be. It's not a bet I'm comfortable making anymore. Probably if I were to be critical of my trading from last cycle, it was, sure, there's a lot of things I could have sold tops on, but just from a thesis or a strategy standpoint, viewing ETH NFTs as a levered bet on ETH was a massive miss. Like, it just didn't play out that way.
Was it a miss, or did you just not do it at the right time? Did you not sell at the right time, right? Because you have to time it like anything else. And like, obviously it was like a little bit of a bubble, but like there was a time when that worked, right?
Fair. So it was very right. And I did not time the market. I timed the market very wrong. So yes, it's a levered bet, but understanding that I viewed it as a conservative levered bet. And the reality, it was a levered bet. Like I was trading on 100x leverage. So yeah, it worked very well. Like there was no world where I was going to turn 0.08 ETH into 400 ETH on or there was no world where I was going to turn $200 into $500,000 just on ETH, right? That happened with Bored Apes because the leverage was there. But then similarly, it would have taken a lot to turn 500K into in ETH, even with ETH down, like at the top, maybe ETH is, people are down bad on ETH, but nowhere near as down bad as they are on basically every NFT collection, right? So yeah, I guess it is a great levered bet. I don't know. I don't think it's a trade I'm mentally prepared to make again. It's hard. It's hard to fucking time tops. It's hard to time markets, and very hard. Let me see. It's hard to sell tops because it's just, I don't know.
It's a mental hard thing to do.
The extreme, but it's not. I do not want to, and maybe also part of it's just mentally how I view my Bitcoin stack versus my ETH stack. I like ETH is for spending, and I do not want to spend my Bitcoin. So I'm more conservative in terms, like, I'm not going to go trade Bitcoin on leverage. I would do that in other rounds though. So yeah, I think yes, it could play out that way. It's just beyond my risk appetite, which is saying something.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, I mean, it's a matter of preference, right? And I think that's it. I think we've had that conversation where it's like Bitcoin's for stacking, ETH's for spending, and that's part of the reason why the price action probably happens the way it does. But like, it's just so interesting to me how things change so quickly. Like Taproot Wizards, like I was having a conversation in the war room, and they're like, "What do you think the floor is going to be?" I'm like, "I don't know, half a Bitcoin." And like, people were telling me half of Bitcoin was FUD. They're like 0.75 to 1, or it's FUD with all this demand. And then when it comes out, everyone's like, who was the incremental buyer? It was never going to be that. And it's like, so funny how the sticks move the second that it doesn't go that way. It's like, sort of like, to make an analogy to our cold open type stuff, Shedeur Sanders, everyone had him go in the first round. And then like, so, or maybe the second round at the latest. And then suddenly when he was falling, everyone was like, well, this is why. And he had bad interviews. Like, wait a minute. you were the people who was telling me he was going to the first round. Now you're telling me that like, oh, like the report's all out on him. And I feel like Taproot Wizards hit that where it was like, when I was literally being called a futter when I said half an ETH floor for Taproot Wizards is probably about what I see, because I was trying to imply like value based on the Dutch auction and all that stuff. And everyone's like 0.75 to 1. And then suddenly it's like, who was the incremental buyer? Of course this didn't go up. It's like, well, that seems like Captain Hindsight. But I don't know. Like, I wonder about that with Ordinals, where I just get worried. And I say it in the chat because, again, people think like, you know, hey, maybe Ordinals will have their product market fit. I just wonder if like Bitcoin people like holding Bitcoin and they might play with Ordinals. Like, do they want to, if Bitcoin goes up, are they going to be like, yeah, I'm willing to trade that much for a Taproot Wizard? You know, I don't know.
Here's part of my thesis with this. I think part of what I'm so convicted in the long-term value of Bitcoin is the institutional demand. I do not see the sale. Like, I just, breaking news, Grant Cardone or Cardone Capital just announced they're going to acquire 1,000 Bitcoin. I do not see Cardone Capital saying, oh, we're going to go acquire 100 Taproot Wizards. I just don't. I don't see ordinals or NFTs making their ways into strategic reserves that aren't. No, this isn't taking shots at the Pudgy strategic reserve or any of that stuff. Like, all that crypto native stuff, those are here and they want to build funds of meme coins and NFTs. Sure, that's fine. I just don't see TradFi funds coming after our JPEGs. I don't. And that's, but I absolutely see that institutional demand for sats and actual Bitcoin. I think that is just getting started. And I think that is like the balloon underwater type moment. It's a supply demand thing. And while I understand ordinals are on chain and it's harder than an NFT, man, I get all that. Theoretically, there's a near unlimited supply of sats. It's not unlimited, I know, but it's for all intents and purposes, there's not a supply crunch there. There's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoin. I just think, like, psychologically speaking, when you see Saylor bought another 1.5 billion last week, you got Cardone's going to buy 1,000 Bitcoin. You got Arizona's going to, buy 10% of their reserves in Bitcoin. Like, the demand beyond our native space, I don't think our parents' financial advisors are going to be telling them they should put 1% of their investment or their portfolio into ordinals. But I absolutely think they're going to be talking about 1 to 5% into Bitcoin. Is that checking out?
Yeah, I think that checks. I think that tracks. Joey, go ahead and get in here.
So the original reason why I raised my hands when you were talking about diversifying, we had a conversation, I don't know what it was, 6 months ago, when we were talking about diversifying. I was like, if you're looking at upside of things, and I had specifically mentioned XRP at like 50 cents, and I was like, what are the chances that XRP goes to $2.50 or $3, right? Does a 5 or 6x versus, putting all your money in Bitcoin and it doing a 5 or 6x. And I'm not trying to say I'm some amazing trader and you should listen to me, but I think it is worth to diversify into some of these other assets because of where they're at and where they could go, right? Like, yes, I think we all agree that Bitcoin at some point will hit 7 figures, but is it more realistic that Bitcoin goes to 500,000 in the next 6 months to a year? Or is it more realistic that something like an XRP could go from wherever it's at now, I haven't checked, $1.50 or $2 to $6, right? So I think diversifying is important because you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, because you could potentially miss some opportunities in some of these other tokens like Chainlink, like XRP, like Avalanche, right? Like, I don't do a ton of research on like the mid majors, if you will. I kind of focus on like the top coins myself that I just DCA every single week. And then on the levered thing, like, I'm kind of out on the levered bet, except for like maybe a handful of things. We're talking like maybe audio glyphs. Like, I think there's a handful of assets that you could probably park your crypto in that long term are worth it. All 99.9999% of them, I just don't see them as an opportunity to park your ETH or Bitcoin in as a lever bet against that crypto. I've seen too many times where if the price goes up in Bitcoin, then like if Bitcoin goes up to 100,000, then Bitcoin, the price of the asset goes down because it matches what it was at like in USD essentially. Except for some of these really like coveted old school, generative art, original type of assets. I don't see it worth you taking your Bitcoin and buying anything in the ordinal ecosystem, or even taking your ETH and buying in the ETH system. Again, outside of like some of those super rare collectible pieces of art.
I think Rare Ed has a great take on this in the abstract chat. It says different target markets. It's like comparing TradFi Wall Street analysts to trad art and collectors. I agree. It's very different markets. The institutional buyers of Bitcoin are not going to be buying art. It's just I don't see that happening. And then art collectors, while they may appreciate the canvas, I would think most of those art collectors, those ordinal art collectors, are probably also collecting Bitcoin. I just think it's a entirely different target market. And not saying that art can't appreciate and have in that market grow and become, incorporate or bring in more art collectors. I just think I struggle to see it happening nearly as fast as Bitcoin, because that train's left the station. Like the institutional buyers are buying, billions of dollars a week right now. And I see that increasing, not slowing down. Maybe that happens with the art market as well. I think that's on a much longer timeline, or it hasn't hit that moment yet where, okay, everyone in trad art wants some sort of exposure to ordinals or JPEGs on ETH. Where I do think most people in traditional finance, maybe they aren't as convicted as we are on Bitcoin. I think most of those people now, whether it's their conviction or their FOMO, they probably want some exposure to Bitcoin at this point, would be my guess.
My biggest issue with like trad art coming over into and collecting like art here is still the collection size, right? Like when traditional art collectors, they buy a Picasso, it's because it's like the only one of that Picasso. Yes, there's many Picassos, but he only painted one of that Picasso. And I still, and maybe this is me being closed-minded, I still struggle with people saying like, from the trad art space coming here and saying like, oh yeah, I'm going to collect this art. It's one of 7,000. Yeah, okay, it's different because it's got different traits, but it's still one of 7,000 of this collection. Versus again, if you're collecting traditional art, it's probably the only piece of art from that artist that exists.
No, well, that's not like, yes, that's not entirely true. So, or I wouldn't say that's entirely accurate. So the art market certainly has edition sizes. In fact, edition sizes go for thousands upon thousands of dollars, right? Like you can go and get editions like I was on a cruise last year. You go to the art auctions and they have these different arts and they're like editions of like 70 or 120 or whatever those numbers are, and they'll sell for thousands of dollars. Like, and so, yes, is it $100,000, $500,000? Well, some of them get up pretty high depending on what it is. So actually that is the case in the traditional art market still, even though it's maybe not quite as prominent. It is certainly the case in the traditional art market that things do sell for thousands of dollars that they're editions of. So this would just be a different version of that, where it's like, hey, you want to own this thing that's this digital artifact that there's certain numbers or editions of, is the way that I would probably push back on that, because it's not, like, if you're talking about Picassos, like we're not necessarily talking about Taproot Wizards being worth, $7 million at a Christie's auction. I think what we're talking about is like, is a Taproot Wizard or a Unchained Monkey or a Bored Ape or whatever it is worth $100,000, $200,000 eventually one day, because people are like wanting that almost edition, but it's a unique non-fungible edition. And I think, I don't want to like lose the plot on that particular part, which is, these are non-fungible tokens for a reason, right? These are NFTs. These are non-fungible tokens. These are, something that is different, versus if you're buying an edition, that edition is coming at the expense of like, hey, you're getting something that is somewhat diluted by several other editions, right? Like if I get a create I have this artist by this artist create this piano piece that I got at one point. Well, my edition by create is one of several. My Bored Ape is in a lot of ways one of one. Yes, it's one of 10,000, but it's actually different than the other ones. In fact, it's rare to have twins within a collection. So I know that's a PFP example, but I think when you look at traditional art, even in that sense, I think that there is a difference. I guess my point being, it's not, I don't think, that cut and dry as far as like being like, well, there's only one of one. Like, yeah, there's only one Picasso, but that's an extreme situation. Like saying there's only one variation of one Beeple that he came out with one time on an everyday versus, the editions that sell in art would be my pushback on that.
I mean, I guess that makes sense. I guess for me, again, that's me saying, that was my preface with maybe I'm not seeing it correctly. I struggle with people saying like, I think the levered bet thing was a big talking point when NFTs were pumping in 2021 and 2022. I don't see it now for the future. Again, unless, like I said, there's a few, like a handful that I think will stand the test of time because of their provenance, like CryptoPunks, right? Like we had this conversation about Squiggles in the war room a few months back. Like, do I think Squiggles will probably hold some provenance because of like what they did? So that might be one. But it's hard for me to look at PFP collections like Pudgy Penguin. And again, I love Pudgies, but like Pudgy Penguins, like Taproot Wizards, like On-Chain Monkeys. It's hard for me to look at those things and be like, oh yeah, instead of Bitcoin or ETH, I'm going to go hold these assets instead because I think they're a better place to put my money. It's just, and that's, again, this is just my personal opinion. I'm not telling anybody else that I know everything and you should listen to me. I just think it's a different conversation now from 2021 and 2022.
I agree. Payne actually says, I feel like Ordinals BTC are the same.
Steve, you're on mute.
No, I'm not.
Uh-oh.
I am not. Is that back? Do you hit a button? We good?
Bear with us. We'll be right back. 3, 2, 1, and we should be live again now. Check, Steve.
Are we good? We back? Up, down, up, down.
Good now. Yep.
All right, cool. We're good. All right. Payne said, I feel like Ordinals BTC is the same comp as NFT/ETH. They operate inversely for the most part. That's actually not the case. The data would show that it does not bear out that way with ETH and NFTs. And in fact, as ETH goes up, when ETH makes a violent move up, NFTs will drop initially, but then when ETH, but that doesn't hold. That's actually not the, it says I was live here the whole time. Good YouTube work the whole time. It was just the space, but that is not the case actually with ETH and NFTs. It's actually the, ETH and NFTs have a near sort of one-to-one upward momentum. I got into a big argument where Crocs got a little snarky with me actually about it and then ended up apologizing because my data was correct. I was like, the data, he's like, says you, I'm like, you're creating counterfactual. I'm telling you, I've looked at the data and I did pull the data. And so it is not an inverse correlation. So at least anymore. And in fact, ETH being bad kind of hurts NFTs if you kind of really dig into that, but it's a whole nother song and dance to go down the rabbit hole on. But I don't know, Cap. It's just an interesting thought of like where, like, I guess the way that I'll kind of like put a bow on it is like, I don't think there is a bad place to quote unquote put your money when you're playing in crypto right now. Obviously like shit coins, things like that. But if you're talking about like the Bitcoins, the Avalanches, the Chainlinks of the world, I don't know if they'll go up disproportionately in price to, I don't know if they'll go up disproportionately in price to everything. I don't know if they'll go up, but I do know that I feel pretty good about where I'm sitting as far as like just slowly DCAing my way into Bitcoin, slowly making my way through this thing and just kind of like, over time, the goal is like, sort of like, I know Kramer gets made fun of, but he has a really good book called Get Rich Carefully, I believe is what it's called, where he talks about the importance of 401ks and investing over time and the power of compounding interest. That stuff is very real. So that's just something I will kind of leave everybody on that one. But Kev, I think good discussion about the macro and kind of where people are putting some money and what they're looking at there. Do you want to toss it over and talk a little bit about this Pudgy Penguin? Well, first of all, before we get into Pudgy Penguin sale, you made a noise when I said Zed Champions. Did you not play? Did you not enjoy? What went on with Zed Champions? Any update there?
No update yet. It's fine. It's fun. I mean, undecided yet. I need to spend more time learning it before I judge an opinion. My initial gut reaction is I think they've built a very good passive game. It does have game theory and strategy. I think they need to make it a lot more clear for like getting. It's just, I don't know. We'll see. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. I'll just say that.
So some skepticism is what it sounds like.
Healthy skepticism. It's definitely different, and I like that. I like that it's something like once it's. I think I need to figure out my own personal routine and how I want to attack it. Part of my challenge is. So I think it might be a different experience for someone like a brand new user or someone starting with like a breeder starting badge where you've got like a couple horses, like maybe a racer and a breeder. I've got a massive stable because I have this legendary badge, and it's like, I don't even know where to start. It's like, oh, okay, what do I do now? And like the horses are racing and they're making money. It's just, so there's real potential there. I'm not sure it's a easy onboarder. Like for someone coming off the street, like I actually think it was much easier to explain to a friend how to get started with Zed. Now I say that it was very complex in terms of just figuring out what was a good horse and understanding traits and all that. So it was a very, very deep game, but it was also very easy to get started as a casual player. I'm not sure how the casuals are going to take to this yet. We'll see, but I appreciate the new swing and something different. And so yeah, I'll dive in more. But yeah, I don't too early to form an opinion yet.
Interesting. Cool. Well, let's do this. Let's go Pudgy Penguin, and then I'll probably sneak out a little bit early today. Don't know if we'll close down early, but I have a meeting at 10, so I'll make sure I get to right there at that. But yesterday, the news that came out, I thought, Stats, because I shared this one because there's a kind of a funny exchange in the comments where Stats goes, wow, the only left-facing penguin just sold for 200 ETH, down 50% from the last sale, which was 3 years ago, but inarguably a huge sale for this JPEG market. One could argue free for a penguin facing left. Someone says how much for this one? They just made it facing right, and he just goes 12 ETH, which is the floor price. I thought that was kind of funny. If you're looking for the data specifically on this left-facing penguin, Now Media, who's been crushing it lately, or continuing to crush it, I should say. The only left-facing penguin sold for 200 ETH, $360,000. It last sold for 400 ETH, $719,000 in 2022. I got some takes from a couple other people that I definitely want to continue to share, though, because so basically, TLDR, left-facing penguin sold for $720,000 a couple of years ago, 3 years ago. Now sold for 360. So massive loss on ETH and cash. That day Luca came on our show and we learned a lot about Luca Ness, which was pretty cool. Because we were talking about it and I was saying, hey, it's a real sale, and other people were doubting it was a real sale. And we had that conversation first of many times he came on the show. Whale out here saying, from a trading perspective, super rare NFTs are negative EV for the most part compared to floors. The only left-facing penguin just sold for 400 ETH in August 2022 when the floor price was 2.5 ETH. Now, floor price is 12 ETH, 5x from 2022, and the rarest penguin sold for 200 ETH. Half of that, and even less when you consider the price of ETH that, today. Investing the same 400 ETH in a floor Pudgy Penguin in 2022 would have been a generational trade, plus much better liquidity for the sales. The 200 ETH sale was an accepted bid on Gandhi. Holding rares can only be worth it from a collecting or PFP perspective if there are direct benefits to holding rares. For example, increased allocations of airdrops versus floors. In most collections, one NFT equals one NFT. When it comes to token airdrops or access, though, which makes it negative EV from a trading profit standpoint. So would you rather buy 50 floors or one rare NFT? So curious your take on the sale, as well as any thoughts on buying rares bad.
I think it's different for every individual. It depends what you want to do with it. And you've got a lot less buyers, and I think it's much more important in terms of timing in the market. I think if you're looking at it for you want it to be your PFP, you want it to be a flex, you want to build a brand around it, fine. If you're looking at it as a trade, I think 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, you're better off with floors and then selling them into pumps, because you're just not like, if a collection pumps, you've got instant liquidity. It doesn't happen on those rares. Like you've got very small pool of buyers, and it could, you could get big wins on that. It's just, yeah, I would urge caution if paying extreme premiums for rares.
It's weird though, because I feel like that the, like ones that don't have the case, because like Whale said, like it's bad to buy rares. Is that the case for like Azuki? Is that the case for Bored Ape? Like, I guess I don't know, but I'm kind of just tossing it out there as a thought exercise. Like, my gut feeling is that Azuki rares tend to sell and make a lot of money, and Bored Ape rares tend to sell and make a lot of money. Maybe I'm just completely off on.
Well, I think also, I think part of this is maybe a result of just things were way overcooked last market. Like, if you think about it, what's a good rare? Like, what's a good premium on a rare? 10x the floor?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not even an expert on rares because I've never owned them.
I mean, if let's say you mint something and it's a rare and you get 10x the floor price, you're probably pretty happy with that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, and we even think about like, I'm trying to think like, Spirit Azukis. Maybe they're more. They actually are more. This thing sold when it sold for 400 ETH. I think the Pudgy floor was 2 ETH. So it sold at a 200x over floor. This isn't a shot at Fudrick. He just overpaid for it. He just overpaid for it when at the Pico top of the market. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't the Pico top, but he just overpaid for the rare. That's my opinion. So I mean, 200 ETH is still an insane premium over the floor price of Pudgy Penguins.
I got why and when he buys it, because I can tell you if he bought it at the Pico top, he probably did about actually 2022.
Not the Pico top of Pudgy, the Pico top of like NFT Mania.
No, I know. I have a chart on this that I have in one of my articles I'm working on, and that like the Pico top was like, I believe it was October 2022. Wait, I mean, no.
You'll see like an alien CryptoPunk could sell for millions of dollars, and if they bought it at the Pico top NFTs, they're down. Like, it's just like everything is down from the Pico top. So I don't think this is a shot at rares. This is still an insane premium versus the floor price. It's like, it's just the difference is he took a bet on something that directionally was accurate, in the sense that Pudgy Penguin floor price has 6x since then, relative to the floor, he's way down. But it's just, I just think he overpaid for that floor. Like, had he paid, I don't know, I mean, if he paid 10x the floor price for it back then, he's up huge today. It's just, he overpaid for it. Sorry, Federic.
Yeah, by the way, Pico top would have been, actually, of all times, the Pico top in Google search for NFT, NFT market cap, and daily unique buyers. Just for funsies, give me a month and year you would guess was the Pico top. All three of those basically topped around the same month in the same year. Google search interest in NFTs, NFT market cap, daily market buyers. Just take a guess.
I'm not Googling that. I'm searching another data point. Okay, so I was going to say this. April 22.
April of 22. No, in fact. April of 22 is late. It was when when did we all first meet in person? Remember?
October of 21.
October of 21 was the Pico. I'll share this because it's going to be something.
So Pico top of activity, definitely not Pico top of price action though.
It depends how you define price action. So
was certainly not the Pico top of like Bored Apes, for example, floor price of Bored Apes. So Pico top of activity and interest, but the floors would continue to run for quite a while after that.
Yeah, I shared a draft one there, actually. Let me share one that's actually a little more clean at the moment. I'm seeing if I can find the one that I did. The problem is, like, I have so many things in my downloads that it's hard to find all the stuff that I've done recently. Okay, I'm going to share this one and see if I can zoom in on it or if it'll work. So this is the one.
That's really surprising to me that the Pico top of search and interest was at the first Ape Fest.
Yeah, so NFT and NYC 2021 would represent. So I'm sharing a screen right now of a graph that I put together. I had to manually stitch it together, but I created the graph using Google search interest, Dune Analytics, and put it in to basically find when there was sort of like daily unique buyers, market cap, in Google search. In NFT NYC 2021.
All this stuff peaked before Other Side Mint, before Moonbirds Mint. Like that's when I felt a lot of like new people entered the space, but they apparently came in well before that and were already out before those big mints happened.
Yeah. Mechaverse Mint was closer to the top than say the Other Side Mint, actually, in that sense. So it was interesting to see how everything kind of played out and sort of like how quickly that cycle was. So the cycle itself, based on this data, was far quicker than the Hape was another one I should actually look up and see where it would fall on there. But I also didn't remember that Moonbirds minted before Other Side. I have the Yieldosaurus tweet on there as well, by the way, which was on the way down as we were continuing to decline. But I don't know. Similarly, I thought it was interesting to your point. Like I thought this data point was interesting because I would have guessed similar to you. It was like during these 2022 hype cycles, turns out that like if we had been paying attention to this data, we probably would have sold around the time Paris Hilton put her money on Jimmy, put her ape on. Like if I had been smart and tracking this data, by the way, BeEpic says December 2021 minted in January. So again, pretty close to here around the top, around that Paris Hilton time. But if we've been paying this data, like I guess my question is to you here. I'll try to zoom in for you a little bit so you can see the different things on here. Although I don't know if I can. Yeah, God, it's not. It's dude. Macs have the worst software. You can't even crop photos. It's just garbage. When it comes to this sort of stuff. But I mean, yeah, I just thought this was interesting point that I was springing up this chart. But like, you know, Beeple sells the $69 million Bored Ape. That was right before things started to take off. Then they went up pretty precipitously, or precipitously would be falling. They went up pretty quickly to the BAYC Christie's auction, the NFT NYC 2021 meeting the peak of top of those Google search interest and that NFT market cap and unique buyers. And by the time they were on Jimmy Fallon, we were on the ways down, which is crazy because you would think you would see a spike right here on this sort of stuff, but it continued to trend downward, albeit a little bit slower.
I'm still shocked that the market cap had peaked then. Like really shocked that because floor prices weren't even close. Like, what am I missing? Like, it just doesn't, the NFT market cap, total market cap doesn't add up to me in my head.
Yeah, I don't know.
At that point, like Bored Apes are like I don't even know. Like I remember talking, the mutants were underpriced. Like they hadn't had their run up yet. They were like 3 ETH and would go to 40. Like it's wild to me.
Yeah, my inclination is maybe it's the other collections and there's this bias towards sort of some of the largest ones because theoretically, think about it, Moonbirds went up to a gazillion market cap
after that point.
Other Side went to a big market cap after that point. But yeah, I mean market cap though. I mean to be fair. Again, I'll pull it back up again. Market cap was a much slower burn downward per the Dune Analytics that I pulled, which is, market cap was like, it wasn't like as precipitous as
I'm going to challenge the market cap math. I can't. It's not making sense in my head. There was just like so while Bored Apes were going like this, while Moonbirds were going like this, other Ds were going what was larger than all of them that was going like this that would pull the market cap down.
Yeah, I mean, and it wasn't even. I mean, it wasn't down significantly, but sure. Let me see if I can find my my Dune in particular.
I mean, during that time frame, like mutants would after that when the chart showing the market cap was going like this, mutants were 10xing. I'm not something's not jiving for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going based on the Dune Analytics and trying to put it together. And who knows? ChatGPT has problems, so we will see if that's even the I'm working out the data, but that's what it had pulled so far. But I'm trying to pull the NFT market cap in general and kind of see if I can get some clarity on that. But yeah, that's what it said. I thought it was going to be 2022 as well, but that's what it claimed for everything that I pulled on that. So we shall see. We shall see what happens as I pay attention to BeEpic. Were you at the BAYC party in Brooklyn? Because I was as well. That was a fun one. But yeah, I'll well, I mean, you're talking about over my left shoulder, by the way. If you're curious if I was at the party in Brooklyn, there it is. Serial number 623, which actually also happens to be my birthday, which I picked up. So that was good. People are
I'll one up
stacking
you.
those.
I'm gonna have to grab it because you can't see it.
Is this with your like wristband and everything in there?
Shit. Got it. First time using wired headphones, excuse me. Yes, I have a cocktail napkin to prove I was there.
Oh, I have a cocktail napkin. I got multiple cocktail napkins. Come on now. Those things were like 500 thread cotton right there.
I want to know the people who still have their Ape Fest 1 wristband on their wrist. I know they exist. I've seen them in the wild.
Yeah, I need to look at I need to go figure out where my cocktail napkin is, honestly, because I have it like saved up, but like I think some of the paint was coming off on it, unfortunately. But those are nice napkins, those cocktail napkins. Those are
quality linen.
Yeah, really, really OG, very expensive. I don't know. I'll look at the data again just to make sure because it's a thing I pulled. It isn't public yet, but sharing some like work in process and see if like NFT market cap.
It's really interesting to me. I'd go back and double check the NFT market cap. Something just seems off.
Yeah. Everything else is got to be spot on because it is the Google sort of trend line. So those are as tight as you're going to get. Sales volume I had pulled at one point and tried to put something together as well. But yeah, no, I don't know.
That Ape Fest 1 was BeEpic's onboarding event.
Yeah, I saw that. Pretty cool. Yeah, I'm going to try to pull that chart again. I may even like end up leaving that out of there because it's not even necessary to the data. And now like you're making me question the data. So I will double check back on that. It's harder.
I would go like, because to your point, if it is accurate, man, did we miss the real signals.
Yeah, it seems very obvious in retrospect when you're looking at it. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see what that looks like. Other thing, and then like I said, I'm probably going to skedaddle because I probably want to make another coffee before my 10 o'clock meeting. Got a nice one that I got to check on, so a little bit of an out this morning. So you can keep going, or we could close it if we want to. Trying to find, I'm like stalling till I find my list. Maybe a topic for tomorrow, but rumors of Thruster shutting down because Blast is basically non-existent. Pac-Man is
I think they announced it. No,
did they announce it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they said they're out. I don't think it's a rumor. I'm pretty sure. I'll double check, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Dundee.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like Blast flamed out. I don't know. I mean, that was just.
Take that back. It says no. It was a rumor. Thruster says any official communication regarding Thruster will come through our official channels. Thruster continues to operate at 100% uptime with no issues. All core functionalities, swap and LP remain operational and normal. Fees continue to be earned by lockers weekly on Blast. So it is rumor. Usually where there's smoke, there's fire.
I may do a deep dive on Blast. That would be an interesting research piece to see like how that worked. BeEpic said like I went from the Gutter Cat Gang party to that party. So did we, BeEpic. So did we. We went to that. I have a picture outside waiting in line for the Gutter Cat Gang Royal Society of Players party. And then we went straight over to the Ape Fest Brooklyn.
It's an all-time picture.
Mm-hmm. All-time picture. It's a great one. But no, it's like us, Benjamin, Josh Ong, all the back in the dayers.
Some random cat lady.
Random cat lady. Stoney was in it.
Who was the guy in the gold jumpsuit? I'm drawing a blank. Brain fart. Doctor. No. What are those Gutter Cat guy? Built his brand. Always wore like the really gold flashy jumpsuit and sneakers. NFT buffet or whatever. Yes. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I think he's in that one.
I wonder what he's up to nowadays. I had a 1-episode podcast with him before someone poached him for a different thing purpose without checking with us, who was a friend at the time. So that was interesting. It was Gutter Cat Gang. What a fall from grace. BeEpic says that's the thing about this industry that's so interesting is like, I like being here for the process. I'll advise or tell people what they think they should do, all this good stuff. I like find myself looking at these situations with like Blast or Gutter Cat or whoever it might be. You need to have a product, man. You need to have a product that people want to use, or you need to have a thing that people actually want to own. And Blast, the reward system was more important than the product. It actually kind of speaks to the article I'm writing because at some point we became so financialized that it was like farming games over like technology and farming games over art and community and farming games over, royalties and everything else. That's what Blast just ran into, man. So I don't know, but it was an interesting one. Maybe kick it to tomorrow, but it's a thought on. I think there's probably a deeper discussion to be had on like what happened to Blast and where Blast went wrong, because I got to look up some volume numbers, but it seems to not be doing. It seems like it just kind of kicked the can. So
You've got my head in a real pretzel with this data this morning. Payne saying he's seen the same thing on NFT market cap. I am perplexed. I'm going to probably dive into this too, because I can't even fathom what collections went down after that point. Like, and it had to be there had to be something that was a massive market cap that like went like something like, I don't know, something like, what was the freaking game at the time? The play to earn game that was every third world country was playing.
Axie Infinity.
Yes, like something like that. Like, did that have, did that go into the billions and billions? Like, I just doesn't make any sense to me how that the total market cap would have peaked prior to apes, punks, and everything else peaking. Makes no sense.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it because I do see higher numbers on buyers and sellers and traders. So I'm trying to find Payne's number on market cap, which I think if I zoom, it just won't let me zoom as far as I want to. I'm trying to get look at Payne's numbers here, but 822.21. Yeah, so just it's going to be really hard to see. I need to look at the analytics and the dashboard. If I can find it on my window or my tabs. I am on the struggle bus here. So it's the block that I'm trying to share. So Payne shared the block with us in our thing. So you can see it's just showing NFT trading volume by chain. It's really hard to see based on this, but if you zoom way in here, it looks like 822.21 right here is where he has about the top. So maybe even a little bit
in terms of volume. I mean, my best month ever was September of 21. I don't doubt in terms of volume, but the market caps of the collections that we know and love, like the ones that are still relevant today, none of them had peaked by then.
I'm trying to find the market cap on here because it doesn't have market cap. It's buyers and sellers, NFT traders. So I'm trying to go through the block data to see. I'm surprised market cap isn't immediately up top. That's what's interesting about it is they don't have market cap up top. But I mean, either way, trading by volume. Who knows?
It must, or it just was so much shit. Like, to be honest, there was so much shit coming out of it that weren't. It was just like the pure volume was so much that the collective total made up for more than where punks and apes and everything else would rip up to in the following 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, I don't know.
A lot coming out then. That was September, October 21. It was like every day there was not dozens, I think hundreds of mints.
Yeah, I had a data point on the amount of mints during a day one time when there's 400 mints in one day. So I don't know, probably an interesting one to dig more into, but Payne's data seems to match at least in the high level.
That's probably it. Even though punks, apes, moonbirds, I still think that there was still a lot, so many, when moonbirds minted, there was still a lot of mints. The whole reason they went to the raffle system is because mints were still cranking out at that time.
Yeah, I do wonder if there's haves and have-nots situations there, though. You know what I mean? Maybe other stuff kicked back and that flew up. So I don't know. I'll do more digging into it. See if it's
it's really intrigued me this morning. I know you got to get out of here soon. So a couple other just quick hitters if I can get them in. Another new feature, Good Vibes Clubs keep shipping. I pinned that up top. Also, kind of relative to the topic of the gold discussion this morning, I posted a video up top where it says we're at the part of the cycle where Shanghai has ATMs that allow you to deposit gold jewelry and have it melted at 12,000 degrees or 1,200 degrees Celsius. Then the value is deposited in your bank account within 15 minutes. MoonPay opened up their U.S. headquarters in New York City. By the way, if anyone's looking for real estate in New York City, hit up our guy Riggs. He's usually in the chat. Looks like he had to leave this morning, but he was out there earlier. Great commercial tenant rep broker in NYC. And then last but not least, I actually tuned into the Google's, the OG Doodle. I combined OG Doodles and made it Google's. I tuned into the OG Doodles sesh yesterday. Did you have a chance to listen to that or get any of the TLDR, the notes? I pinned up the notes up top. Hat tip to Maria and Roop. Sorry, I couldn't find Roop's X account to tag, but that's pinned up top. Steve, the TLDR is imminent. Dude Token and DreamNet is imminent. I think it was Greeny and Squish. I believe it was those two are on their way to Toronto as we speak. They're basically diving in finishing touches, go to market campaign, all that stuff happening this week with Burnt Toast. They didn't give any dates, but they did say another Doodle Sesh is going to be taking place this week. And you would know better than I, but I don't think it's often that they do two of those in 1 week. So there was kind of if you were picking what they're putting down type of vibes, that my takeaway is that we might see Dude and DreamNet as early as this week.
Oh, wow. Okay. So yeah, no, it is. There was a point in time when it was not common to see two of those in 1 week, or see one of those in 1 week, I should say. So that could be pretty big. So Dude floor currently about 3 ETH, I want to say. And it's a $5,300 for your doodle. So who knows if those will get a little bit of a run come Dude Token. We shall see. But yeah, I gotta run because I got this thing in 5 minutes. So let's let everybody out of here just a little bit early. By the way, correction, I had Christie's on my chart as the auction. It was Sotheby's where that 101 apes were on there. So that was what I was talking about on that. But we'll do a little more research. We'll see what happens. But that said, we'll send everybody off into their day. Thanks to everyone who came through this morning. We will talk to everybody bright and early tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Eastern time. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, everybody.
Thanks for tuning into Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin. We hope you enjoyed the show, and remember, nothing we discussed today is financial advice. Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and we'll see you soon. Have a great day.
Welcome to the future.